This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
IPA confirm records safely stored. Prime Minister Marape urged citizens to be disciplined. And speculations on Hyde's fire clarified. A very good evening. This is National Emtv News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. The Investment Promotion Authority fell victim to the looting and arson where its rented warehouse at Conidouble, Port Moresby, was burnt with some records totally destroyed on Wednesday evening last week. A fire truck was on site and managed to contain the fire from spreading and completely burning all the files.
Mr. Wood has assured the business community and government that the IPA's and TD records are safely stored on cloud and files kept in the warehouse were hard copies of business information that are currently available on its online registry system. Business entities that have any issues are urged to contact the Registry of Companies for assistance. These include files for the intellectual property rights applications. Hood urged the business community, the government, and the public not to panic, as all companies and other entity records are available online. Hood said that records maintained by the IPA at the warehouse are only secondary records and companies are obligated to maintain original records of filings made to the ROC at their registered office. By law, majority of the records that were destroyed were time-bound as they were more than 10 years old. It is therefore not in any way a loss to companies and does not in any way affect the records and filing system of businesses in the country. However, Wood stated this is a huge loss to the country as IPA took pride in maintaining historical hard copy records of every single business and TD registered in the country and for the convenience of the business community. The IPA offices in Port Moresby, Lae and Kokopo have been disrupted because of the riots and were forced to close operations for a couple of days for the priority safety of their staff and clients. Despite this, Hood remains confident normalcy will be restored and the companies in general and Papua New Guineans are resilient and there is always hope to recover and continue doing business as usual into the future. Gladys Gila, National Emtv News.
Meanwhile, the Investment Promotion Authority has condemned the senseless attacks on business houses in the nation's capital and other centers around the country recently.
The Managing Director for IPA, Clarence Wood, and the Board of IPA were concerned about the recent dilemma, highlighting such actions reflected badly on IPA's efforts to promote PNG as a preferred investment destination. Hood stated one of IPA's key programs over the years is to facilitate investments in the country, given its natural resources, endowments, and diverse industrial potential. However, one of the key setbacks continues to be the law and order concern. He said even though such problems are common globally and occurs occasionally, security is one of the costs investors have to incur as part of their operation costs to ensure that their business is safe and secured. IPA has conveyed its utmost regret to those companies affected, assuring them that they will work with them in terms of the compliance requirements if required to ease the pain. Hood indicated that pertaining the incident, it will take a lot of effort and resources to build the eroded investors' confidence built over time and especially in the eve of the country's economic boom. Gladys Gila, National Emtv News.
Prime Minister James Marape embarks on the importance of discipline and calls for parents, students, citizens and all academics and administration staff to be well disciplined to contribute to shaping the future of this country.
Prime Minister James Marape embarks on the importance of discipline, highlighting that the future generation of this nation needs to be properly disciplined and that the responsibility lies with the parents and the teachers.
Make sure he's going to school. You give discipline at your own home. Make sure he's looked after and cared for. And when it comes into the embrace of my two secretaries here, he or she will do our absolute best to try to look after them. Our responsibility as parents in 2024 for your country is to ensure we convert these children in our country to become better citizens of our country. And it starts, education starts at home. You teach them well, you send to these two secretaries and all the teachers under their care and the lecturers under their care.
PM Marape made reference that prior to the independence, our forefathers ensured that discipline prevails at all levels and calls for the visibility of discipline at all levels.
Today we're living among ill-discipline at workplace, ill-discipline in society. And Education Department has a large role to play in this one as a symbolic gesture to the country that government will work with the two educational sectors, the higher education, lower education, to try to make a calculated insertion into molding the character of next generation Papua New Guineans. I want to appeal to you citizens, if you do care for your children, don't ask about someone else but you, listening to this wherever you are in this country. Manage your own children in your home. Teach him well, send him to a church on weekends, teach him the ethics of good Melanesian Christians, and allow him to come into the embrace of these two departments here. We will do our absolute best.
Marape also calls for all the academics to be disciplined while on duty.
I want teachers to be disciplined. No buai, no smoking, no chewing in front of our students. Teachers and lecturers, no riffraffs, dress up properly, no rastas. We just have to go into stiff in this one. We have lost the plot in as far as administrative discipline, student discipline, and parents and citizens discipline.
Sharon Engnui, National Emtv News.
Controller of the State of Emergency, Acting Police Commissioner Donald Yamasombi, has warned the people not to use social media to encourage mobs or engage in civil disobedience. Yamasombi emphasized that inciting people on internet to join mobs, loot or damage property is a crime and those involved are being tracked by police with the support of NICTA.
In a statement, the SOE controller says in the ongoing investigation into the events of January 10, they are actively examining evidence relating to individuals who incited the crimes committed. Yamasombi clarified that this includes those who spread false information with the intent to mislead and cause chaos and destruction within the city of Port Moresby. The controller said there are provisions in the Criminal Code Act and the Cybercrime Code Act that provide grounds to arrest and charge people who use the internet to encourage criminal activities. Yamasombi highlighted that while social media offers a valuable platform for people to express their views, it also provides avenues for criminals and people with bad intent to communicate. He added that people need to know that there are consequences for their actions and inciting civil troubles online can lead them in jail. Therefore, any reckless publications aimed at inciting civil unrest will face consequences. The right to speak is respected, but it must be exercised responsibly, grounded in factual information. The SOE controller said that they are compiling cases and utilizing appropriate technology to identify the owners of each social media account involved, and as evidence is collated, they will make arrests. They encourage social media commentators to act responsibly and don't comment if they don't know anything. Yamasombi said it's better to be safe than sorry. Louis Maingu, National Emtv News.
During the recent swearing-in ceremony for 10 new magistrates, Justice Minister Pilar Niningi revealed the plans to appoint 200 additional judges. The move comes after the recent parliamentary approval to increase the number of judges for higher courts.
Previously, the law limited judges to 40, but the recent legislation allows for the expansion. Minister Niningi clarified that all 200 judges would not be deployed immediately. Instead, their deployment would be based on the Chief Justice's needs, subject to approval from the National Executive Council.
So in the meantime, we have now, they're giving, government has approved for 60 judges. So the recruitment exercise is on, engaging, talking to people, so we can get 60 judges start working immediately. If need be, they will come back to government. We will increase it, whatever the number. Chief Justice and Deputy and the judges requested us to consider. We will consider.
Minister Niningi highlighted positive changes in the judiciary, attracting more experienced lawyers to serve as magistrates. He encouraged the new magistrates to prioritize timely justice delivery and emphasize the importance of taking their roles seriously, including visiting prisons. James Guken, National Emtv News.
Reports on ground has confirmed that the Heights GTE plant in Como, Hela province has not bent down today, clashing all social media speculations that the site has been affected by the nearby warring clans. Meanwhile, Minister for Petroleum and Energy, Karenga Kua, has made his statement in regards to the landowner dispute in Heights. Following speculations on social media on the alleged burning down of the Heights GTE plant, it is confirmed that police mobile squads 9 and 20 were manning the facility today. Reports have stated that the Heights plant is secured. The burning smoke in this scene was a result of a fight between the Wita and Tobani clans, which resulted in the burning of houses near the site. With the speculations claiming that the government has been inconsiderate of the majority of landowners there in Hela, Minister for Petroleum and Energy, Karenga Kua, has given his response. Minister Kua confirmed that a tribal conflict is in progress now around the gas plant area, but the plant itself is still intact. Workers have been evacuated to safety. He furthermore stated that over the last 4 years, the Marape Rosso government has worked hard in the efforts to retire all outstanding state commitments. Currently, they only have to pay out some accumulated royalties, which previously were by court orders. He confirmed that MRDC and Department of Petroleum are going through the accounts opening process. The minister urged all local leaders and landowners to cooperate in this process. After that, they will work on the current issues. National Emtv News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National Emtv News. Member for Bulolo Open, Sam Basil Jr., shared his insight on livelihood issues affecting the people due to the civil unrest that took place last Wednesday in the nation's capital and Thursday in several centers around the country.
The government household assistance package only benefits less than 300,000 people who are formally employed among the 10,329,931 as of 2023 of PNG's estimated population. This was highlighted by Sam Basil Jr. Out of the 300,000 people, less than 100,000 are earning below the 20,000 kina tax threshold, whilst 99.9% of the people of PNG are faced with dealing with cost of living pressures. He said the government must address the issues of the present to deal with the future and learn from the past, then being fixated on it. He stressed that the treasurer must address issues such as fiscal policy and other policy matters to address unemployment, increase of prices, cost of living pressures, and how to deal with peasants who lost employment due to the recent mayhem. His appeal to the labor force in the country is to take concerns and grievances through the respective unions and through the mechanisms managed by the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations to avoid any public engagement and disturbance that could be mishandled and create chaotic situations. Basil Jr. additionally noted that he has written to the treasurer on establishing Bulolo Labor Mobility Scheme, focusing on utilizing youths in the agriculture, forestry, and livestock industry in the district and in sending workers overseas and ensuring they bring skills and capital back. He said these are examples of improving people's lives and impacting on communities. Claire Mauta, National Emtv News.
Mount Hagen General Hospital's emergency department reported that it has been and is having an influx of patients daily, especially during the Christmas and New Year period. Most of the patients the ED have been receiving since the Christmas of 2023 were victims from car accidents and alcohol-related clashes.
The emergency department records up to 5,000 cases per month for the past 3 years. Mount Hagen Hospital has a total of 279 beds, of which the emergency department is allocated only 20 beds. The department notes that to begin the year 2024, only 25 patients were allocated beds, while 15 patients were served on the floor, which is against the clinical standards. According to emergency physician Dr. John McCoop Jr., up to 30% are from the eastern end of Southern Highlands and Enga provinces. The doctor notes that according to the recent changes by the National Department of Health, Mount Hagen Hospital is no longer the regional hospital for the Highlands region. Hence, only cases that require specialist care may be accepted. McCoop also added that it is believed that the influx is from the displaced population from the neighboring provinces. The hospital manager, Sister Sarah Dodd, also added that for the department to treat this influx, they will need enough manpower on the ground, appropriate modern equipment and other consumables, facilities updated to standard requirements and appropriate funding by the GoPNG. The hospital management is looking at accepting referrals from urban clinics and rural health facilities for non-emergency or Category 3 cases, ensuring all rural health facilities are in full operations and redeploying manpower to strengthen the emergency department, strengthen regular wards and the possibilities of organizing repatriation for patients from other provinces. Arrangements were also made to accommodate emergency department patients into any ward. Natasha Rovoy, National, Emtv News.
Director for Institute of National Affairs Paul Barker has explained on the world global economic pressures that have had a ripple effect to Pacific Island countries, including PNG. He made his statement recently in Port Moresby. According to a release by World Bank earlier this month, global growth is projected to slow for the third year in a row from 2.6% last year to 2.4% in 2024, almost 3/4 of a percentage point below the average of the 2010s. Developing economies such as Papua New Guinea is projected to grow just 3.9%, more than 1 percentage point below the average of the previous decade. Meanwhile, with the PNG government's budget record passed last year in Parliament, it is said to be promising to every households and citizens.
This year, we'll have to sort of be seeing and watching. PNG does have some advantages. We've already got PNG LNG. We've got, so it's an established trade route, if you like, from PNG through to Japan, China, Taiwan, and Singapore. It's relatively more accessible. It's got lower risks than from the Middle East with all the troubles that seem to evolve in the Middle East.
Papua New Guinea needs to have a standard system that applies to all businesses with a standard tax system across the board to minimize the opportunities from corruption when it comes to special economic zones. This was explained by the Executive Director for Institute of National Affairs, Paul Baca, following a media statement released by the Minister for International Trade and Investment, Richard Maru, regarding Baca's comments published in one of the daily newspapers.
With special economic zones being an effective vehicle to gain international investment, PNG needs the private sectors to drive the economy and reduce corruption. The Executive Director for Institute of National Affairs states this.
The state-owned enterprises have been given nice monopolies. The state is investing in a load of areas where the state should not be needing to be investing because the private sector can invest, and then the state can focus its money on what it needs to do, which is improve education so that people can actually get through into grade 9, into grade 11, can get into tertiary colleges, can get access to health services, because PNG has amongst the worst health services in the world, the lowest immunization rate in the world, some of the worst access to health services. These are the functions of government. Government is wanting to duplicate and spend a lot of money on investing in business activities, buying major shares in resource projects when others could do that, when in fact it can earn its income without the risk by collecting taxation from those projects.
Mr. Baca explains that the state is investing a lot in areas that will have no benefit to the economy.
We need to be focusing on minimizing the opportunities for corruption, which means having standard systems, standard tax systems across the board that apply to all businesses. Yes, you can have certain arrangements. You could declare some whole area as an SEZ, but then you may need to make sure that that whole area as a disadvantaged area. Moresby is not a disadvantaged area, but you have some area which is a disadvantaged area. You need to really get things going, and you would do it, but you would then do it in a very transparent manner.
He also stated that there is a strong need for employment growth in PNG with less work created in the formal sector. However, Mr. Baca says not all special economic zones are corrupt, but can be more transparent to minimize corruption. Esther Gane, National Emtv News.
Now to the Nest Fund market report. The Kina closed lower at $0.2678 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, Kina was buying $0.2603 $0.3861 Australian dollars, 0.2300 euro, 37.36 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed higher, copra closed higher, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading higher, copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading lower, the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National Emtv News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National Emtv News. Prime Minister and Pangu Party leader James Marape today announced the release of Vanimo Green MP and PNG Party leader Belden Nama from the government. Pangu Party is with 52 MPs and the solid backing of coalition partners remains intact.
Prime Minister Marape said Pangu Party parliamentary and non-parliamentary wings reached a resolution to release Nama from government. He expressed gratitude to Mr. Nama for his participation in the government since the 2022 general election, but emphasized that the Pangu Party believes it is time to release him from government. Marape added that this call comes from the party despite his personal connection with Mr. Nama. PM Marape also acknowledged the resignation of 6 MPs last week from government and applauded their contributions to the government since the 2022 election, highlighting that they are free to join the opposition as mandated leaders and offer constructive alternatives to how well they can develop this country. Marape revealed that the government have offered them room and support as a fair government. However, they have always shown signs of dissatisfaction, hence it is fair that they leave. The government is now led by Pangu Party with 52 MPs, and a solid backing of coalition partners remains intact. Sharon Engnui, National Emtv News.
The bitumen road into the Malolo estate in the 8-mile suburb of Port Moresby was flooded today following the constant downpour from early this morning. A vehicle was seen submerged in flood waters whilst exiting the Malolo estate.
The Malolo estate, situated outside Port Moresby like several other places in the nation's capital, continuously suffers from flooding in the area due to heavy downpours. The Malolo estate entrance road was submerged under flooding water today due to the constant downpour. Residents of the Malolo estate had difficulties leaving and returning back home and are made to wander around the capital city, awaiting the flood to subside. As seen, a dark green and grey RAV4 was nearly submerged in the flooding water whilst trying to drive through to make it out the estate. The main source of the flooding, as alluded by the residents of 8 Mile, is the continuous running of a natural spring water which had been diverted into the drainage system by ongoing development in the area. That, along with flooding water from the downpour, causes the bitumen road to be flooded and inaccessible. The residents at the Malolo estate have already raised their complaints and are requesting a better drainage system for the area to relieve them of the continuous flooding of flowing water. Claire Mauta, National Emtv News.
Ganigila River Festival ended peacefully in Karawagi, Simbu Province. Simbu Governor Noah Cool said PNG has a lot of festival, but Ganigila River Festival is different and unique, with the potential to promote local products in the tourism space. The 4th Ganigila River Festival was supported by the governor with 50,000 kina, with the commitment of another 100,000 kina for its 5th set to be held this year in November. Spearheading the event was the Executive Director of Somare Research Institute, Dr. Jane Awi, with support by the Dange community, Simbu Provincial Government and National Culture Commission. Moving to overseas news, major fears of monsoonal rain and flash flooding in far north Queensland is easing after weather conditions became normal over the weekend.
Conditions have certainly eased. I mean, you can see behind me that in Cairns it is quite a beautiful day now, but it was quite a wet weekend. In some parts of the area we did see up to 110 millimetres in 24 hours, so there were concerns in some parts, including the Daintree and northern beaches of Cairns, which were really badly affected by the flooding from Tropical Cyclone Jasper. However, thankfully there wasn't really any severe damage there, and things were certainly not as bad as they were last year. So the severe weather warnings for the North Tropical Coast and Tablelands have been cancelled, but there are still flood warnings in place for parts of the peninsula and parts of the Gulf, as well as a flood warning for the Tully and Moree rivers, where there's a minor flooding possible at Uramo this morning, because a lot of those areas are still quite saturated, and there's been still a fair bit of rain in the catchments over the weekend, but that weather system is now moving further south, and as you can see, it's pretty clear here today. So one of the main concerns with the rain over the weekend was what it might do with the repairs to some of the major highways. So a lot of the major highways, including the ones connecting Cairns to Port Douglas and up on the Atherton Tablelands, were all significantly damaged by huge landslides that were caused from all that rainfall, as well as completely isolating some communities up in the Daintree. Last week, the Department of Transport and Main Roads announced that they would be trying to open a single lane of traffic connecting that highway between Cairns and Port Douglas on the 20th of January and the Palmerston Highway connecting the Atherton Tablelands in mid-February. However, those dates were weather dependent, and so there has been this rain since, and there are inspectors and engineers who will be going out today to look at those roads and see whether those dates need to be pushed back, because that is really the major stumbling block at the moment with getting the communities back on track, is getting supplies in and out, getting people in and out, and of course returning tourists to some of these areas that really rely on that part of the industry.
A volcano has erupted in southwest Iceland, posing an immediate threat to a nearby fishing town, which was evacuated during the eruption.
In the dark Icelandic winter, liquid rock spews angrily into the night sky. Residents here have been told to flee these apocalyptic scenes. As the fishing town of Grindavik, their home, slowly becomes a living hell. Construction workers building a protective barrier after last month's eruption just managed to save their trucks from this fresh onslaught.
We were just at home, and unlike before, we did what we were told this time. But I'm flabbergasted that an eruption is possible under the town. It's something I can't believe.
With temperatures reaching up to 1,000 degrees Celsius or more, this merciless lava is wiping out everything in its path.
What is maybe more serious is the location. This is closer to Grindavik, and lava is flowing towards Grindavik. Then that is a pretty serious situation.
The authorities insist no lives are in danger, but experts say this eruption is unpredictable. Iceland is proud of its 30 active volcanoes, the natural wonders attracting tourists from far and wide. But residents are becoming increasingly concerned as this uninvited monster creeps into their homes.
National Emtv News continues after the break with Trukai Sport. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. In a somber announcement, the PNG RFL revealed the passing of rugby legend Joshua Ko-Oru at 55. Hailing from Koyalahu Village, Gulf Province, Ko-Oru's career began in 1991 as a Kumul playing in a 4-test match.
Late Joshua's elder brother Gideon Ko-Oru fondly recalls playing side by side with him from their humble beginnings with the Kumuls touring the world.
Myself, Alda, and Joshua, we started playing. We were starting playing la province Kerema. Okay, Biblia sa walk about no nabis kamka kuma Kerema down. Saturday rest. Sunday play, and Monday morning walk back again.
Reflecting on Joshua's legacy, Gulf ISO team manager Raymond Aru, cousin Abel Koivi, and former teammate Tuksi Karu share cherished memories of their time with him.
I have tried my best to emulate what my uncles have done, not in the field of rugby league, not in playing, but in terms of administration. I know my late Bubu, he's been very strong in that field, and it's been a passion for me to follow their footsteps. Uncle Joshua has been a big part of that.
So we took the lead in our family in playing for West, the beginning of West up until they came in. And they came in and took our place. We decided maybe after we got married, we had children, we had other responsibilities, and some of us decided that, okay, the younger ones take on. And that's where the core brothers came on.
So me come inside the West Club and me play the third grade. 1 year the third grade that's all me go on tableau. Promoting me go on tableau A grade. That's how me play one time. Play brother. I play 91 me to play 2 one time. First 1990 me to play Queensland tour.
The rugby community mourns the loss of a true icon. James Guken, Rukai Sports.
The Northeast Rugby League, initiated by the National Capital District to keep youths from participating in unlawful activities, began its round 2 games over the weekend at the Unagi Oval Gardens.
The Vice President, Jack Ano, introduced the tournament taking place at the Unagi Oval.
Unagi feel Unagi must be noticed. Unagi opposition league. Thank you lo Kamblibla lo Luksawe lo youths lo Noga take part lo Ogimol 30% lo more crime lo this la city. That's why we talk thank you lo all sports desk lo NCRC lo aloim opposition lo Unagi Opposition League lo noticed.
Mr. Ano went on to call upon his president, Felix Atusa, to speak further on the Northeast Rugby League tournament.
Mipla rani mosem Northeast Opposition Rugby League, where Mipla katim intention long making mosem this year, and become a league of its own, Northeast Rugby League. And Mipla by affiliate Gwinchelo one me penche RFL, now it's going to become a sanctioned league.
They were so pleased that this newsroom covered the tournament and made a call out to government departments, NGOs and private business houses to assist with the initiative that NCDC has kick-start to help keep the youth occupied and away from unlawful activities. Claire Mauta, Chukai Sports.
The Hohola Rugby League tournament had its round 6 games yesterday at the IPI Park, Hohola. The league hopes to kickstart its first State of Origin match of the year in the coming week.
The head coordinator of the Hohola Rugby League tournament, Omega Nari, gave an update on the round 6 games that eventuated yesterday and what would take place this week.
Now we're at round 6 to Mibla. Round 6 to Mibla got him 2 more rounds. Before we play the finals, we got him top 8. Top 8 blow each pool, we got him 2 pool A and pool B. A pool A consisting of all in-house team, the whole yet. Na pool B and all outside team, especially around not inside all area, but just outside all. I'm picking all interested teams who can take part.
The head coordinator Nari also mentioned the 5 top teams competing in the tournament.
Pool A, I think SSR start first, or Pool B, or Talks Mixed Dogs, want them Nest United, or go fight the first, second stop. I took the brother team at Tokora, and most of Pool B. So
he went on to state that despite the civil unrest that took place last Wednesday, they continued on the matches.
People to police no one making any negative or feedback or second, but people just run on through the games. So people just encouraging people to play, but just talking about boys control your man, control your spark man, or unnecessary or something. No more but pagarabim flow the game no bonus again.
Claire Mauta, Chukai Sports.
The Three Corner Hawks claimed championship after beating Hagen Brothers by 1 point in the Gomis League under the Western Highlands Province Governor's Cup.
The grand final ended with presentations from Governor for Western Highlands Province, Wairapa. Rapa congratulated the 2 teams for making it to the grand final victorious among 18 other teams. He says the main game will be played at Rabiamul Oval for the Governor's Cup, and from there a champion will be named. A total of 80,000 kina was presented to the Gomis League, of which 30,000 kina was from the governor and 50,000 kina was from the Minister for State-Owned Enterprises, William Duma. Governor Rapa presented 10,000 kina to the players and 20,000 kina to the singing group and other participants. Rapa highlights that this is the first of its kind for the 4 members of Western Highlands to come together to run such tournament. James Guken, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. Moving to overseas sports, the Adelaide Strikers are into the Big Bash League cricket finals after a 9-wicket win over the Sydney Thunder.
Strikers captain Matt Short led the way, smashing 74 not out. The Strikers chasing down the Thunder's 140 with 23 balls to spare at Manuka Oval. The win seals a top 4 spot for the Strikers, and they'll take on either Perth or the Sydney Sixers in an elimination final.
That ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours in southern region, Port Moresby City, partly cloudy with chance of few showers. Daru, Kerema, Alatau, partly cloudy. Popondetta, partly cloudy with few showers.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Monday, the 15th of January, 2024. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.